Nacho man, yeah. I got to be a Nacho man. Got to be a Nacho man. I got to be a Nacho man.
Welcome, World Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and we are back at the genetics lab in the White Springs bunker in order to clear up some misinformation about the charisma stat and the hard bargain perk. As unbelievable as you may find it, the Wikipedia has some information that is misleading at best and downright wrong at worst. I know. Wrong information on a wiki. What is the internet coming to these days? What the wiki says, and I quote, "While hard bargain will improve these buying and selling numbers, it appears hard bargain provides less benefit for those with higher charisma and becomes useless if one has charisma of 16. Now, I have done some experiments, and I would like to share the results with you regarding about the accuracy of that statement. Now, the statement of "it appears" does leave some wiggle room, so that's why I say it's either misleading or wrong depending on your point of view. As I stand here, my character has charisma of 4, and I do not have the hard bargain perk enabled. And we're going to do some experiments with the most expensive items in the entire game, which are the mutation serum recipes. Now, I do have another video planned about whether or not I think that it is worthwhile to buy these recipes. I have bought 3 of them, and I'll share those results with you in another video. But for now, these things cost 23,000 caps each. Holy smokes, that is a lot of caps. But what can we do to get a better deal? Well, obviously, the first thing we're going to do is start boosting our charisma up to that level of 16 as mentioned by the wiki. So we're up to charisma 16 with the application of some unyielding armor along with my dangerously low levels of health and high levels of radiation. And when we go into the trade menu, what we find is that the serums are now 18,800. If the wiki is to be believed, adding the hard bargain perk will have no effect because we had heard it say that hard bargain is useless at 16. And yet, if I go in here again with hard bargain on, what I see is a price of 17,500, an additional significant reduction of 1,300 caps. However, it does turn out that that number of 16 is significant because if I boost my charisma to 20, we're going to see something interesting. So I'm going to add another piece of unyielding. I'm also going to add a treated flannel shirt and jeans. Flannel shirt and jeans are available from many vendors, and the plans are also available from many vendors. They typically are called treated casual Under Armour lining or something along those lines. I think they're only like 150 caps. And it takes no flux to build this particular treatment mod, unlike many of the treated mods in the game. And it's worth an additional point of charisma and some damage resistance. So we're at charisma 20, and what do you know, but the price has not gone down at all. So it is accurate to say that with a charisma of 16 and hard bargain, that you can get the lowest possible price in the game. And yet, I am curious if we can make hard bargain completely superfluous. Could we, in fact, save those 3 perk points for something else entirely? So I'm going to take hard bargain off and see where we're at right now with a charisma of 20. You can see that the price jumped back up to 18,000. Now we can already tell that each additional point of charisma has less and less impact, we are getting diminishing returns for our charisma boosts. And yet I am still determined to get the best possible deal on a mutation serum, and so there are some things that we can do to continue boosting charisma. Now, we are not allowed to have multiple chems, for example, that would boost charisma. So I cannot, for example, have great mentats and excel that both boost charisma. I can't have those both active at the same time. We are allowed to have a food and a drink and a chem active that boost charisma. So you can see that I just put on my I meant to put on Party Boy, but instead I put on Hard Bargain again because I'm a dummy. But we're going to go put on Party Boy. I did not take this perk. I got this perk at random in perk card packs, and I got it twice, so I was able to upgrade it. And the effects of alcohol are tripled, so I'm going to get 3 charisma from this beer. Beer is plentiful, easy to find, and cheap to buy if you can't find it. I'm also going to take a grape mentat. I highly recommend buying the grape mentat recipe because I think that it is worth it. You can take regular mentats plus a whiskey and get grape mentats and better prices on everything, plus 5 charisma. And finally, the food item does bear some discussion. There are 2 food items in the game that can boost charisma by 2. The first is something called corn pone, and there is exactly nothing to recommend it. It is difficult to find the recipe. The cooking of it requires many ingredients. The sell price on it is extremely low, and it weighs a whole pound. And finally, the stats on it of 45 hit points, 2 charisma, and 5 rads, and 22% food, those are all exactly the same as this Mothman egg omelet, which requires exactly 1 Mothman egg that I can pick up for free with no fuss and no muss from the outside of the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant, or from the altar that is down by the river, also in Point Pleasant. So go pick up some Mothman eggs if you'd like to get some better prices. Let's go ahead and take these consumables, and so we're getting 3 here, and we're going to get 5 more there, plus the better prices effect, and finally an additional 2, and our charisma now stands at 30, plus the Great Mentats effect. And what we find is that, at least with a charisma of 30 and Great Mentats, that yes, we are back to getting the best possible price in the entire game. One last thing to check is put the Hard Bargain perk on with our charisma of 30 just to see if there is any additional effect, and surprisingly, not at all. There is no additional effect from Hard Bargain. So 17,500 is the absolute best price that you can get on a mutation serum in the game. It doesn't get any better than that. Now, the question of whether or not Hard Bargain is worth 3 perk points. And I think that the answer is a qualified yes. If you are playing a bloodied build and you have a set of unyielding armor and are willing to go through all those shenanigans that I had to do to actually get the consumables also necessary to continue boosting charisma, yes, you could you could get by without having hard bargain. That said, a bloody build is a difficult thing to do. It is a difficult thing to play, and in my opinion is nigh suicidal, especially if you're going to do any kind of PvP. So I think that you're better off spending the 3 perk points for the hard bargain. After all, by the time you are a high enough level to have the kind of caps that we're talking about here for these very expensive mutation serum recipes, or for example the power armor modification plans, not just the mods but the actual plans so that you can build your own, by the time you have those kinds of caps, you've got enough levels that yes, you could probably spare 3 for the hard bargain. If you're not playing a bloody build, like holy cow, you know, the penalty that you have to pay for carrying around all of this unyielding gear and then making sure that your health is low enough and get all those consumables and have them ready to hand. Oh my gosh, like just like go get the hard bargain perk and pop it on. Like it takes seconds to install when you're playing a solo guy like me and normally have Lone Wanderer equipped. I hope you found this information useful, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button down below. If you want to see more and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I have a video coming up where we're going to talk about whether or not I think that it is worth it to invest those caps in those serums. As you saw, I have 3, and I can discuss whether or not they are worth your time and money. And if you didn't like, before you hit that dislike button, please leave me a comment telling me why you did not like, so that I can try and do better for you in the next video. Until next time, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.